guys, so for this granny stripe tutorial I'm going to be using this lovely Stylecraft merry-go-round yarn, and this one is shade dark rainbow. I really like this one, and I'm going to be using a 4mm hook just for those of you that want to know. To start with, you're just going to do your slip knot, so just take your tail end and wrap it around your finger and hold between your other fingers, and then wrap the working end around your finger once more, and then you're going to pull the back loop over the top of the front one, and that is your slip knot created. Now for the granny stripe blanket, you want to do your foundation chain in multiples of 3. So whatever width you want your project to be, that is how many you need to chain. So as long as it's a multiple of 3, you're good to go. So I'm just going to do, how many should I do? I'm going to do 21, and then we'll go from there. So just do your foundation chain and I'll meet you back in a moment. Okay, so I've done my foundation chain now. I actually decided to do 24 instead because 21 just seemed a little bit too short for showing you. So now that I've done that, I just need to add 2 more stitches. So whatever length chain you've done, you're just going to add 2 more onto the end. And then we're going to work back along our foundation chain, and we're going to be doing double crochets all the way along. So remember, that's double in UK terms. In US, this would be your single. So into the 3rd chain now, so you're going to 1, 2, you're going to miss those 2, and we're going to work into this 3rd chain here. So you insert your hook straight in and yarn over and pull up, and then yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook, and that is your first double. And then into the next stitch, you'll double again, and the next, and you're just going to work all the way along your foundation chain. So if you want to do that, and then meet me back at the end. Okay, so I've worked all the way along my foundation chain now. It will be a little bit curly, like a little pig's tail, but that's absolutely normal. You don't need to worry about that. It will flatten out as we work up the pattern. So we're going to move on now, and to do that you want to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then you're going to turn your work around. And this chain 3 is going to count as your first treble. And we're going to do 1 more treble into the base of where we've just come up from. So into this stitch right at the bottom, you're going to yarn over and insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull up, and you'll now have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, and yarn over, pull through the second. So you've got 2 trebles there now. So remember your chain 3 counted as one of your trebles. So now we're going to skip 2 stitches. So we're going to skip 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 3 trebles into this 3rd stitch along. So yarn over, insert your hook into that 3rd stitch, and make sure you've got the V on the top of your hook here, and then yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to do another 2 more trebles into that very same stitch, sorry. That's 2 trebles and 3 all into that same stitch. And again, you're going to miss 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and then do 3 trebles into the 3rd stitch along. It's 1, 2 and 3, and again skip 2, 1, 2, and then 3 trebles into the 3rd one along, and you're just going to continue that all the way along, and then I will meet you back when you get towards the end of your first row. So I've just done my 3 trebles into this stitch here, and I'm just at the end of my row now, and you can see we're going to skip the next 2 stitches here, so 1, 2, and then you're going to work into this one here. It does sort of look like it's going down the side a little bit, but as long as you skip 2 and then work into this next one here. and we're going to do 2 trebles into that one. It can be a little bit tricky. So you're going to do 2 trebles. That's 1 and 2. So whatever you started with at this end, like we started with the chain 3 and then the treble, that counts as 2 trebles. You must make sure that you finish on 2 trebles as well. So then we're going to start the next row, so we're going to chain 3 again and we're going to turn. But we're not going to do another treble like we did at the start of the last row. We're just going to use this chain 3 as our first treble, and that's all we're going to do on this bit here. And then we're going to work into the chain space that was created just here from the previous row. We're going to do 3 trebles into that chain space. So not into the tops of stitches, we're going into the space there. So we're going to do our 3 trebles, so 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to move over into the next chain space and we're going to do 3 trebles into there. And the next, and you're just going to do that all the way along, 3 trebles into these chain spaces, and I will meet you just as you do your last set of trebles into this chain space at the end here. So I've just done my last set of trebles into this chain space here, and if you remember we started just with the chain 3 at this end, so we only need to do 1 treble at the end of this row, and you're going to do your 1 treble into the top of the chain 3 from the previous row. So you've got your 1 treble and then your chain 3. So you just want to make sure you're going into the very top of that chain 3 and doing 1 treble. Again, the chain 3s can be a little bit trickier to work into, but you're just going to do 1, and you can see that'll keep your edge nice and straight on that end as well. So we'll work on to the next row now, and again you're just going to chain 3 and turn, and you're going to alternate each row. So the last one we did a chain 3 which was 1 treble, the row before we did a chain 3 and a treble to count as 2 trebles, so you're going to do 2 trebles, your next row will be 1 treble, your next row will be 2 trebles again, your next row will be 1 treble, and so on and so forth. So because we did 1 on the last one, we're going to do 2 for this one. So into the very base of where you've just come out from, just here, you're going to do 1 more treble into there to count for our 2 trebles, and then you're going to move straight across into the chain space here, and you're going to do your 3 trebles as normal. And you're just going to continue working across into each of the chain spaces, doing your 3 trebles, and then when you get to the end I will meet you back there just to firm up exactly where you need to go for this one. So again, I've just done my last set of 3 trebles into this last chain space here, and then because I started with my 2 trebles, I need to finish on 2 trebles as well. And to do that, I'm going to work into the top of the chain 3 from the previous row. So you're going to do 1 and 2 into the top of that chain 3. And again, keeps your edges nice and straight. To start the next one, you're going to do your chain 3, turn, and you're on just the 1 treble for the start of this next row, and then you'll work across. So that is literally the pattern. So as long as you remember to alternate between the 2 trebles at the beginning and the end, 1 treble beginning and end, 2 trebles beginning and end, etc., your pattern should work up absolutely fine. I'll do a couple more rows now just so you can see how it looks the further on you get. So I've done a few more rows of this pattern now. It's working up really nicely. It's a very simple pattern once you remember the 1 treble and 2 treble. The only thing with this pattern is you can't be too much of an absolute perfectionist with the edges, because they are going to be very slightly lumpy. Not a lot, but if you're an absolute perfectionist, then that might drive you a little bit crackers. But obviously with any sort of border around it, you wouldn't see that at all, and it would look absolutely perfect. So I do have quite a few tutorials on my channel for simple borders and things for you to put around any project. So obviously just go and have a little look through all of those and see if there's one there that takes your fancy, because due to the pattern itself, you are going to have little raises and dips along your edges. But like I say, with any sort of border, you wouldn't see that at all after that. But I really hope that you've enjoyed this lovely little pattern, and if you did, just give me a really quick thumbs up, and remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. But thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you again very soon for another tutorial. Bye for now.